Erwin Rommel. His name still echoes among the dunes of North Africa. Known as the Desert Fox, he was one of the greatest military strategists during the Second World War. But does the legend of the Desert Fox hide the truth about his real character? Today we delve into the Rommel myth and the man behind the mask. We uncover the real story of one of the most enigmatic figures during the war. Plus, stay tuned for our own assessment of the Rommel myth, which we'll reveal later. Coming up, we'll explore the rise of Rommel and his connection to the Nazis, how the myth surrounding his name began to take shape, as well as his legacy, which lives on to this day. Erwin Rommel was born on November 15, 1891 in the town of Heidenheim in the state of Baden-Württemberg, Germany. Rommel grew up in a middle-class family and was the second of 4 children. His father was a teacher, and his mother was the daughter of a civil servant. Rommel showed an early interest in the military and joined the local Army Cadet Corps at the age of 18. He went on to attend the Royal Military Academy in Danzig and was commissioned as a lieutenant in the German Army in 1912 at the age of 20. During World War I, he served as a young officer and gained valuable experience in the trenches of the Western Front. Rommel's unit was involved in several major battles, including the Battle of the Somme, one of the deadliest battles in all of human history. Rommel became known for his tactical skills and bravery. He was wounded many times and was awarded several medals for his service, including the Pour le Mérite, Germany's highest military honor, making him a minor celebrity back home. Rommel was especially interested in mobile warfare. He observed how tanks and other motorized vehicles quickly broke through enemy lines and exploited weaknesses in the defenses. After World War I, Rommel remained in the German military and served in various roles, including as an instructor at the infantry school in Dresden and as a battalion commander in the Reichswehr. Reichswehr was the German army under the Weimar Republic. During this period, Rommel gained a reputation as a skilled and innovative military leader, particularly in mobile warfare. Rommel also wrote a book called Infantry Attacks. The book is a memoir of his experiences as a junior officer during World War I and describes his tactics for leading infantry attacks against enemy positions. Published in 1937, the book became very popular in military circles as a valuable resource for officers seeking to learn from Rommel's experiences. Infantry Attacks is notable for its focus on initiative, speed, and surprise in warfare. These are all key components in the Blitzkrieg that would be the hallmark of Germany's early war efforts. Rommel emphasized the need for soldiers to think independently and take advantage of opportunities on the battlefield. The book helped him to progress his career significantly, and the timing of its release was perfect. Hitler was impressed by Rommel's insights into military strategy and tactics. Both Hitler and Rommel had similar backgrounds as self-made, middle-class individuals who were also veterans of World War I. This helped Rommel gain favor with the Führer. Rommel's association with the Nazi Party is a topic of much debate and controversy. Some historians and biographers argue that Rommel was not a committed Nazi and joined the party mainly for career advancement. They point to his relatively limited involvement in the more extreme aspects of Nazi ideology. Some even claim he never joined the party at all. Others argue that Rommel was a willing participant in the Nazi regime despite his reservations about the Nazi ideology. At the start of World War II, when Germany invaded Poland, Rommel was in command of the Führer Begleit Brigade, responsible for protecting Hitler and other high-ranking Nazi officials. Although Rommel's battalion did not participate in the invasion of Poland, it was later sent to France as part of the campaign in the West. Due to his connection with Hitler, he gained the prestigious command of the 7th Panzer Division, despite such commands being generally given to nobility. Rommel played a key role in the German army's swift and decisive victory over France in 1940. He led a daring and unconventional campaign using his tanks and armored vehicles to outflank and outmaneuver the enemy. The 7th Panzer Division, led by Rommel, gained the nickname Ghost Division for its swift movements and surprise attacks. Even the German high command sometimes lost track of its movements. The division also used deception tactics such as fake radio transmissions to make the enemy believe they were facing a larger and stronger force. Despite earlier achievements, it was not until the North Afrika Campaign that the myth surrounding Rommel first took shape. In February 1941, the German High Command appointed him to command the newly formed Afrika Corps. The Afrika Corps was a mobile armored force tasked with aiding the Italian forces in North Africa. Rommel was chosen for this position due to his reputation as a skilled and innovative commander. He quickly set about reorganizing and training his troops. Upon arriving in North Africa, Rommel faced significant challenges, including a shortage of supplies and a lack of proper support from the German High Command. Even though Rommel's mission was initially defensive and to support the Italian allies, he quickly adapted to the harsh desert conditions and began implementing blitzkrieg tactics. Much to the amazement of the British, he started to go on the offense. Under Rommel's leadership, the Afrika Corps quickly gained a reputation for aggressive and effective action, and it soon became a formidable force in the region. Rommel was soon nicknamed the Desert Fox due to his achievements. He was known as a skilled and cunning leader who was admired and respected by both his troops and his enemies. The Nazi propaganda machine made use of Rommel's successes in North Africa to rally support for the war effort and to create a positive image of the German military. Rommel had a relatively humane policy towards prisoners of war during his military campaigns. He believed that treating prisoners well would help to promote a positive image of the German military. He also hoped that this would lead to better treatment for German soldiers captured by the enemy. In the end, however, despite initial successes, Rommel's campaign in North Africa ultimately faltered due to a combination of factors including supply shortages, logistical challenges, and the overwhelming numerical superiority of the Allied forces. It is also worth noting that the British used the Enigma codebreak against Rommel's troops, giving them a strategic and tactical advantage. The North Africa Campaign officially ended on May 13, 1943, when the Axis forces in Tunisia surrendered to the Allies. Rommel had been forced to resign 2 months earlier and was replaced by General Hans-Jürgen von Arnim. Rommel lost Hitler's favor after the defeat in North Africa. Hitler saw Rommel's defeat as a failure of his leadership and questioned his loyalty to the Nazi regime. Half a year later, Rommel was brought back from the cold to defend the French coast. He was one of the few German generals with experience in amphibious warfare and was seen as a competent commander. However, Rommel was not given the resources he needed to prepare the defenses. He was also likely under strict orders not to move troops without Hitler's approval, which hampered his ability to effectively defend against the invasion. The Allies landed at Normandy in June 1944 and heavy battles ensued. On July 17th, Rommel was injured in a strafing attack while inspecting the defenses. 3 days later, there was a failed attempt to assassinate Adolf Hitler and overthrow the Nazi regime. Although he was not a co-conspirator, Rommel was aware of the plot and sympathetic to some of its aims. He was later implicated in the investigation that followed. In mid-October, Rommel was visited by 2 generals from the German High Command. They offered him 3 choices: facing a public trial for his alleged involvement in the assassination attempt, personally defending himself in front of Hitler, or taking his own life and receiving a state funeral. Rommel chose the last option and ingested a cyanide capsule in his Afrika Corps jacket. He died that same day and was buried with full military honors. The official story given to the public was that he died of his injuries from the strafing attack. It was not until after the war that the true circumstances of his death became known. Today, the inscription on his memorial reads, "Here on the 14th of October 1944, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel was forced into suicide. He took the poisoned cup and sacrificed himself to save the lives of his family from Hitler's henchmen." This demonstrates an effort to dissociate Rommel from any Nazi affiliations. After the war, the myth surrounding Rommel that had taken shape during the African Campaign grew even more. Due to the circumstances around his death and lack of association with war crimes, Rommel became a symbol of the German desire to distance themselves from the Nazi regime. Rommel's success in North Africa and reputation as a skilled commander made him a popular figure around the world. His military career was celebrated in the press and popular culture, and he was often portrayed as a noble and virtuous soldier who fought bravely for his country. Rommel's reputation as an honorable and ethical commander was also further increased by several books and films that portrayed him in this way. The 1951 film The Desert Fox, which starred James Mason as Rommel, helped to popularize the Rommel myth and portrayed him as a tragic hero who was ultimately betrayed by the Nazi regime. The purpose of the Rommel myth after the war seems to have been to help to reintegrate the West German armies that were now on the same side as the Americans, British, and French. The myth may also have aided in selling the Marshall Plan to the American public. Previously, we said we would present our assessment of the Rommel myth. Our research shows that it concentrates on three aspects. The first aspect is Rommel's reputation as an honorable, just, and ethical commander. This may be true, but shouldn't we expect these qualities in all commanders? Yes, we should. But given the sheer amount of war crimes committed by the Nazis, we think that Rommel needed to be humanized for propaganda purposes. The second aspect of the myth suggests that he stood up against the Nazi regime. Early on, it seems clear that Rommel cooperated with the Nazi regime to further his career. People like Rommel often rise in rank because of a combination of skill and ambition. Although he later got disillusioned, it is unclear whether this was because he disagreed with the Nazi ideology or because Germany was losing the war. The third aspect of the myth is that he was an invincible commander. It is undoubtedly true that Rommel was competent in his profession. However, the Allied likely exaggerated his skills as they needed to portray Rommel as a formidable adversary, which only they ultimately managed to defeat. Additionally, Nazi Germany needed a hero in their propaganda. To summarize, we think that there's no doubt that Rommel was a skilled, self-made, and respected military commander with honorable qualities. But his association with the Nazi regime and his role in supporting its war effort is nevertheless hard to ignore. Ultimately, the judgment of Rommel's legacy will depend on a nuanced understanding of his life, his actions, and his impact on the world around him. While he may have been a flawed and controversial figure, there is no denying that he played a pivotal role in the history of the 20th century, and that his life and career continue to be the subject of debate. Now it's your turn. Do you think Rommel was a good German, or were his virtues exaggerated? Please give your opinion in the comments section. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.